Again, I am perfect, so I never have to have like extra takes, but Aaron needs them all the time.
Yeah, every word that Dave says makes it into the pot.
Yeah, exactly.
Rhyme or free, it doesn't matter to me. It's my bad poetry. Good day, and welcome to My Bad Poetry, a podcast about poetry that is bad. It started with a wolf journal, and now as we enter into season 3, we celebrate that it has become way more than just me and Dave spitballing on this journey through the private pages of a journal. We have now seen more journals and drafts from other people that should have otherwise remained reserved to the shelf, but we are grateful that it is being shared. And what better way to start a season than with another incredible guest? She is a blogger, a YouTube host who has not only interviewed poets, but is a poet herself, having set the incredible goal of getting published in 10,000 journals by 2030. A goal inspired by a husband who has a voice of an angel, I might add. Fizza Abbas, we are overjoyed to have you on the show.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm having a blast. So it's so much fun.
Well, we'll wait till we get to your poetry and we'll just tear it to shreds, and no fun is allowed on this podcast. Absolutely.
None whatsoever.
Okay. I'm serious. I'm not going to say anything. I'm serious.
I wanted to ask before we started rolling, what time are you recording with us today?
It's 10:47 p.m.
Oh my goodness! Hopefully you're a night owl. Otherwise, I feel very bad.
Oh,
good.
Of course I'm a night owl. Come on, I am.
Oh, good.
I think Aaron goes to bed at like 6 p.m. He's kind of boring, but you know.
No, 9:10, Dave. I'm in bed by 9:10. Well, did we miss anything in the intro that you might want to get out to our listeners before we dive in here?
Just a bit about my books. So I have authored 2 books so far. So my first book came out last year in 2021. It was through a chapbook competition that I won by Famadan Publishing. The book name is Uljalud. And the second book got released this year by Ethel Publications. That book's name is Bakho.
Nice. Very cool.
Now, this actually brings me to a question I was going to save till much later in the show, but do you write in multiple languages or?
No, actually, primarily I write in English, but I like to incorporate words from my language into the English language. So
nice.
The name Ul Jalul is an Urdu word. It means clumsy, and the word Bakho, it's clumsy and scattered hair. So, scattered brain,
Yeah.
And Bakho means a girl with unkempt tresses, like you can see mine right now, so I'm in a Bakho mode, so that's the name of the book.
Nice, okay.
I love that. I love being able to incorporate your language and, both of your languages, yeah.
And just play with it together.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah, I was going to ask if there's a language you preferred to write in. It sounds like you mainly play with English.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, someone else who plays with English is Dave, and he writes hastily written poems.
I like how you're making fun of me for my badly written poems as you struggle through the introduction to my poem. That's perfect, Aaron.
Dave, how about you hit us with a poem to get us into the realm of poetry?
Okay. This is a poem that I spent many a painstaking seconds on, and it is called To Be a Professional Musician. Am I very good? Meh. Am I the best in my town? Certainly not. Do I write my own music? None that anybody else in the world will hear. Is my technique impeccable? That can't actually be a question, right? Am I available last minute on a Friday morning? Yes, I am. I have found my niche.
Oh my.
I've been hired to sing for quite a few things, but it's always, hey, we had an actual musician who dropped out. Can you like kind of play guitar and fill in for us, please?
What kind of gigs are Friday mornings, Dave? Are you at like the retirement home or something?
Well, this morning was for a funeral that I did.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I've played for retirement homes. I've done like small wedding services, and it's just been kind of fun to be like, yeah, nobody's looking for me to play at their wedding, but if they need someone last minute, I probably got time.
There you go.
I'm the best ninth option.
Fizza, I know in your blog you mentioned that you're a fan of music. Do you do any music yourself?
No, please don't test my vocal cords at the moment. I am the worst person alive with like the worst voice ever. I am not really, I can't sing. I can't even speak with a melodious voice. So there is this very funny instance. So when my husband first came to meet me, it was our first unofficial date. So he actually sang a song for me. And I was like, I also want to dedicate a song to you. So he was like, yeah, go ahead, please do. So there was this song, Urdu song. It's by Mohammad Rafi, and Hindi song. So it was called Patthar Ke Sanam, which means my stone-hearted lover. So that's what it meant. So I actually sang it, and he was like, stop it, please never ever sing again.
Oh no, that is beautiful.
My husband often says that I have this ability to cause national crisis by singing. So I think you're so unique in that perspective.
Oh, that is just the highest of compliments, right?
Yeah, that's beautiful. Oh man. Okay, well.
I like to hear a lot of music though. So when I was a kid, so my mother used to listen to old classical Hindi music written by Sultan Majroor Puri and Sahil Ludhianvi, all the Urdu poets. So I used to listen to those sort of music, but I can't sing myself. But yeah, I love music. I love listening. Recently, my husband introduced me to Yanni's instrumental play. So that was an entire orchestra, and Yanni was the one who was, orchestrating them, and it was the best thing I have ever heard. I also love instrumental music by, Yuruma, by Kenny G, and all those people. So when I was a kid, so I listened to Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, and I was like, oh my God, what did he try to say? What is he trying to say? Yeah. And then I couldn't follow it, so I was like, da-dum, da-dum, dum-dum. This is the only thing that I got. But then as I grew up, and I was like, oh, okay, so like, this is what he's trying to say. So there's so much fun. I like listening to different types of music, but particularly instrumental music is something that I mostly resonate with.
Nice.
Well, I am really looking forward to digging in here. Fizza, it has been several months since you first reached out to us on the show, and I lament that it has taken us this long to get you on, but I know that it was worth the wait. So, what do you have in store for us today?
Okay, so I have this really bad poem that I'm very embarrassed about, but at the end of the day, it's actually very close to my heart. So if somebody is going to criticize it, I'm like, oh my God. But when I would be reading it, I would be like, what sort of shit I have written? So it's like the position of that.
I get that. Yep.
Yeah, so that is the poem that I'm going to, read. So feel free to bash it, but and then please take care of my heart as well because I'm very scared.
I'm not here to be mean to you. I'm here to be mean to Aaron. That's my job. So
yeah.
Okay, so let me just begin. The title of my poem is Am I Polyamorous? You might not believe me, like I don't believe myself. When my heart quivers for a strange presence, I'm not in love. Love, no. It is a different ball game altogether, and not a level playing field where you would have a fair chance to reflect the light falling on the mirror of your eyes or to absorb its remnants like you would want to. If it's a face of life, you can't give a peck on its cheeks to feel how they would look blushing at one name. You have so many. Or to pinch its nose to know it would stay indifferent amid the cacophony of colors. You know only shades. Or to kiss its broad forehead that draws so many bleak images of fate. You're not so good at Lionheart. You love the idea of love, how a void of space that once was dark glimmered with a blanket of stars, starting the premise of you. For you, it's a canopy held up over your worldview, but in reality, it's a sky, dim, muted, and subdued.
Terrible. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Please don't miss your words. Say whatever you want to. The poem is out in the world now.
It's out. It's out there. You've shared it.
Out there.
How do you feel about having shared this?
Honestly, I'm embarrassed, but I know that I'm going to work on it. So I will be slightly embarrassed, but when I would be done, I would be like, okay, so it's done now. Right now, I'm like, okay, feel free. I mean, what can they say? These guys are so nice anyway. So that's what I'm thinking.
We're very mean people, but we don't know enough about good poetry. So what are we going to say?
We can't be hard critics. We don't know anything.
And at the end of the day, does our opinion really matter?
Oh man, I don't even know where to start. I'm so curious what these like almost backhanded are they insults that you've put in brackets here? This is a very snarky poem.
Yeah, I actually am insulting myself as well because this is like a hidden voice that's saying all those things. So I'm there is this one me who's saying who knows that okay, so I know myself, I am polyamorous and it's okay. I mean I need to embrace myself, but at the end of the day there is this hidden voice that's telling me that you know nothing, you are such an idiot, you can't make sense of who you are, then how the hell are you going to talk about something as abstract as love? Do you really even know the spelling of love? So that's the hidden voice that's saying those things to me.
I love that. I think that's really good because there are so many people who are so overly confident in their understandings of who they are and what love means to them. And I like that you're just throwing this out there like, I know who I am, but do I know who I am? I understand all this about me, but do I? Like, I really like that you're playing with that.
Yeah. I mean, like, those interjections just stood out so much. It's just like, you're all like, you feel they'd be blushing at one name. You have so many names. I mean, it's just I mean, that self-doubt and that voice that's within all of our heads, that's so relatable.
Yeah. That leads me right to, you love the idea of love. Like, I understand the concept there, but that feels less like snark and more like more aggressive. Like, you love the idea of love, so are you actually seeking this out, or are you just... I mean, I call myself a romantic because I enjoy rom-coms, because, I'm that kind of person. But like, I love romantic comedies. They're so much fun. But at the same time, it's not an actual portrait of what love is. It's just like, how can we manipulate people's emotions to make them feel something in an hour and a half?
You mean not every love story has a meet cute and then like a misunderstanding and then a beautiful resolution in the rain?
Someone running to the airport to stop the plane.
That's how I met Abby. I'm curious as to what you find maybe what you find bad in this poem. I'm just really interested from your own perspective because I mean I like a lot of aspects within this poem. So.
Yeah.
Okay, so the title of the poem first was "Am I a Polyamorous Muslim?" because I belong to, a Muslim family.
Sure.
So this is, and then being polyamorous, and I'm married as well. So,
Yeah.
so yeah, so this was like very contradictory in my own head. So I was like, okay, I know that my husband actually helped me figure it out, which is so surprising. So he knows that, so I'm like, I have so much love to give out there that I can love so many people at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And, which is why I have so many crushes. Every writer I meet, I have a crush on him or her. So it's very weird. So this is what I was like, this is the contradiction that was going on in my head. And I was like, have I been able to really convey it to my reader that this is what I have been going through? So when I read it again, I realized that there is a lot of room in there. There are certain things that seem very vague. Like since I have written it, so I can see it. So sometimes what happens is we see depth where there is none. So this is what I have been feeling, that, okay, so is this really meaning something, or I've just put it there for the sake of it?
I gotcha. Yeah, actually, yeah, without the title, I don't think I would have gotten any of that context. Just honestly, I mean, the idea of, you love the idea of love, like that Dave pointed out, that's such a universal feeling of like romanticized images of love. And so in many ways, it's almost, I feel almost far more universal. And your title is the one giveaway as to the personal struggle you're trying to convey. Yeah. Okay.
With the title, there's the lens on it, but without the title, it is a lot more broad. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to put out there the thing that, I'm married, and, still I have all these crushes and all these people that I'm, I have feelings for. So, sorry. So I was like, is it real? Should I really convey it? There was this conundrum going on in my head, that should I convey it or should I keep it hidden? What exactly should I do with this concept and this entire poem? Because I was very scared that, what if, I come across as somebody infidel or disloyal or something like that? Though I am not, like, everybody, I mean, with everybody, I mean my husband. So my husband knows that, I have such tendencies, but still I was very scared that, either I should come out properly that, okay, so I am this. Or if I'm reflecting my conundrum, then it should have all the layers, like, the actual conundrum. Because sometimes when I read this poem, I'm like, is this really conveying, or I'm trying to use words, or just trying to make sense of the poem while writing it? So sometimes when you certain lines come, and then you're like, oh my god, that's so cool, I want to write it, and then you write it, right? At the end of the day, the poem, there is no poem, I mean, and there is no theme, there is nothing. These are just like 10, 11 lines without any, am I really making sense, or is it only making sense to me? Because I am writing it, so I'm like, it's like my babies, I'm like, oh, okay. So this was the conundrum with this poem.
Yes. Yeah. There's a phrase during my internship, one of my mentors was telling me about how sometimes my sermons were very repetitive. And it's because I had that problem where I thought of a line, I was like, this line sounds cool, and this line sounds cool, and this line sounds cool. And eventually it's like 5 lines that are saying the exact same thing, just with different images and stuff. And so the phrase that she gave me was, you have to be willing to kill your darlings. And I think that's a common phrase in writing, killing your darlings. Yeah. So this it sounds like you feel that this poem is just a collection of darlings.
I totally get that, because there is some really cool, like, I love the how a void of space that once was dark glimmered with a blanket of stars, starting the premise of you. Like that's beautiful. That is such a beautiful line. And I honestly wonder, like, I'm looking at it, I think you could fit this in a couple other places in this poem and it would change things. Again, big grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know things about poetry. I'm
begging.
Okay. But yeah, I think like there's so many beautiful lines, and you kind of wonder where they should fall.
Or if it's an entirely different poem, because that line of that you pulled out, Dave, that is such a cool image. I don't know how it has anything to do with the polyamorous struggle. I'm sure you could explain it. I don't want to.
Okay, so I have this tendency to defend anything that I write.
Go for it.
I'm not going. No, I'm not going to defend, honestly, because this is like I feel that at times not defending things is the right way to go about it. I mean, you need to look at things a little more objectively. So what the thing that you said that you need to kill your darlings. So I think that's what I want to do with this poem. Otherwise, it's like, oh my god, I'm like, oh my god, look at this line. But does it really belong in that poem? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think we'd be running this like a workshop, but I'm loving this because it's such a fun one. I mean, picking at it, there's, like you said, there's so many really cool lines.
Well, and I think, so for me, who I'm not Muslim and I am not polyamorous, so like this is a really interesting poem because it's a glimpse into how I could understand someone a little bit better. I think there is a massive benefit to having poetry like this, hearing from people who have different perspectives than me. Like that really opens up new worlds. So I think there's some really cool stuff, especially like with those interjections and with kind of the self-doubt in there too, kind of shows the universality of it. I'm a straight white guy from Minnesota. And so I feel like my self-doubt sometimes feels less authentic. Like I feel like that's my own issues that are coming up for me, kind of my own ideas behind race and sexism and all of these things that affect who I am, that I'm trying to deconstruct and learn my way away from. But I feel like poetry like this kind of opens my eyes to a world where we're all people together, Yeah. Like we have so many different perspectives. We have different religious beliefs. We have a lot to learn from each other.
Yeah. I have to ask, is one of your darlings the line, "I'm not in love, no"?
No, actually, okay. I am not sure whether it is or not, but I believe that is the only line that actually says what I mean. I mean, in the entire poem, that's what because that is the conundrum. That is it love? Is it the right kind of love, or am I faking it? Or am I being dishonest to somebody, or am I being dishonest to myself? So is it love? Is it love, or the infatuation, or the idea of love that I am confusing with the actual definition of love?
Okay, it's just I'm looking back at it, and that line stands out as it just feels like an entirely different rhythm and like, because it has the love dash no, and so there's like all these duplicates, which actually, now that you say that, it kind of captures the two sides of an argument.
Right.
But now you've convinced me it should stay.
I think that I should actually send you all my poems so that you can tell me that, these are the lines that I should keep and these are the ones. Because at times there is so much conundrum and, you don't really get that, what should belong, what shouldn't, what seems unreal. So, I think you will be a great help. So I'll send you now from now on.
Oh man, I don't know. I would feel too much pressure. Well, this has been such an eye-opening first bad poem. I want to get to another one here. We have two other options. What could be a beautiful Christmas gift for an unwed imaginative mother, or I can't find my specs. Ooh, Dave.
I feel like as three bespeckled nerds, we kind of have to do I can't find my specs.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, okay.
That just feels authentic to all of us.
I can't find my specs. At the breakfast table, when people are reading newspapers, I'm poking fingers into egg yolks and gazing at crisp rashers of bacon. Mama, have you seen my specs? Let me browse my books scattered on the bed. What if I kept it in the almirah? Let me clean out my closet today. Benzos and Panadol are keeping my emotions at bay. Who needs frocks at the moment? Shirts, blazers, trousers. Please go outside the room. Let me look in other rooms as well. Sofas, tables, photo frames, sink, spice jars, check. Hey, should I check in the garage too? Phew, it's only the exhaust, nothing new. Holy shit, what I threw it in the commode, and it gouged away with my humble abode. I have no choice now but to buy a new frame, the ailing grandy dame of a lens. Forget it now, let me fix the mirror hanging askew. I'm wearing my specs, who knew?
Oh.
Well,
That is a ridiculous little poem, and I love it.
yeah.
So actually, this is my first attempt at writing a humor-based poem.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I am actually a very fun person at heart, but when I'm writing my work, I feel like a very serious sort of a person, which I'm not. I mean, I'm a very fun person. So this is what I tried to do with this poem, that to try to showcase my fun side.
Well, it is fun.
It's coming across.
Yeah.
Coming across. That's very fun.
So we got these little couplets here. The rhyme just kind of comes in and out, almost surprisingly,
Right?
Which is just a fun little aspect of this. I love the twist at the end.
Yeah.
That was incredible. I have to ask, is this autobiographical in any sense?
Oh yes, autobiographical with uppercase and just keep 50, 60 keyboards at times, everything in caps lock. And this is the entire autobiographical thing, and it has happened to me, lots of times. Like, I'm somebody who has lost so many specs that now I have 6 4 in backups. Yeah, I actually broke one yesterday.
Okay.
So this is the one. Okay, so this is the one that I'm wearing. So it has this, it is actually the fix. So if I, take it off, you can say that, you can see it is bent over there. It has been, fixed just yesterday. So this got broken. So I actually, I don't know where to place my specs. So what I do is sometimes I put them right, with my books, like near my side table or on my pillow. Sometimes they come out from my blankets. So I have to, sometimes they are, once actually one of my specs, fell into a bowl of soup. So,
Oh, wow.
I'm actually very clumsy. I mean, in the real sense of the word, like sometimes I actually ask myself that, people often say that, this is how God created you. This is, this. So when I think about it, like I used to tell it to my mom when I was a teenager, and I still believe it, that, see, what happened was God was creating everybody. So there is this belief that God created humans from clay. I mean, especially in our interpretation. So what I think is that there was some clay lying on the floor, and then angel came and he was like, God, you have forgotten, I mean, what to do with this? It's going to go to waste. So he was like, oh, come on, give it to me. I'm going to create another human. So that is the human that I am. So I am an unplanned creation. This is why I am like this.
I love it.
My mother used to say that, you are such a fool. You don't know anything. I'm like, Mom, see, had I not been there as, as somebody, an epitome of foolishness, then how people like you, I mean, the sane ones, how would they get recognition from people? I mean, there should be a difference. I mean, there should be a fool and then should be a wise person. So if fool wouldn't exist, how will people know that there is a wise person there? So, you need to give credit to me.
Right?
So we have a beautiful, just kind of picture of a frantic search through a home. What is an almirah?
So it's actually a cupboard. So I use this word for that.
Okay, nice. Like a big cupboard?
Yeah, there was this big cupboard. So actually, I'm a very cluttered person from my head, and everything around me is disorganized. Like I am disorganized, things are disorganized. Even my husband is disorganized. I think I attract disorganized things around me. I mean, sometimes I feel that. So if you come to my home and if you look at my bed, so everything around me is so messy. My bed doesn't have sheets. I don't like. I mean, I'm like, just leave it like that. And then it's very weird. So I keep my clothes like that. So there's like, just put it, just throw it away. And my actual cupboard is like an epitome of how disorganized I am. Then there is this medicines popping here and there. And amidst all these, then there's my glasses that I don't know that where I have kept, because sometimes it comes out of a medicine box, sometimes out of computer table, sometimes even sometimes I forget it in the washroom. I mean, I have actually done that. So I have this actually thing that I use the walls of my washroom as like a as a sketchboard or something. So I write my thoughts there. So which is why I use this. I use my glasses. Sometimes I make my notes. Sometimes I read. Sometimes I write. I mean, some of my poems. I mean, there was this poem that I wrote about pooping. So that was the one I wrote in the washroom. I mean, so yeah, I mean, like
that makes sense. Yeah.
Have you ever lost your glasses down the toilet?
Of course, I mean, who hasn't?
That line though, what if I threw it in the commode and it washed away with my envelope?
Yeah, actually I have done that. So once I brought my laptop to the washroom because I was writing and I was like, I feel the ambience looks good, so why not try it here? So I went to my washroom with my laptop, and then I misplaced my glasses. I was like, where are they? Where? Then they came out to be where they are supposed to be. I mean, right? What is the place for glasses? I mean, if not where they are.
Oh gosh.
This is amazing. Oh.
That's beautiful.
Oh man, I just feel like every one of these places is now someplace that you have actually lost your glasses. Am I assuming that correctly?
Yeah. Actually, some places are like, the actual one, and some are like, world of my imagination. Because
Sure.
I often think that if I lost it here, then what's going to happen? So the garage part, no, actually, why am I revealing it? I'm not going to reveal it.
Oh,
I just think it's funny because like I do some woodworking. I think it's really fun, but I always need pencils to mark stuff on wood. And I used to always have a pocket, like I do woodworking with a pocket on my chest. And I would end with like 5 or 6 pencils in that same pocket because I'd keep picking up new ones because I couldn't find the last one, even though it was literally like attached to my chest. Yeah. I've gotten now in the habit of hanging pens from my glasses when I'm woodworking, because then they're like clicking against my face and I actually remember I have them there.
I love the symmetry of this story. Lost pens lead to glasses, and
I like it.
The lost glasses. I do see that in the Google Doc you have addressed some of the other questions that I wanted to ask. So we're gonna put in the show notes places where you can donate to help those who are experiencing flooding in Pakistan. Is there anything that you want to acknowledge about that before we kind of wrap up here to take it in a completely different direction.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So there is this person. Her name is Saba Irshad, Sabairshad, and you can find her on Facebook, or you can message me at Fizza Writes FIZZAWRITES on Twitter, or you can email me on my email address, which I'll share with you guys, and then you can share it. So you can tell me about it, and I'll connect you to her. She's doing extremely good work, and she is an individual person who is doing it. She's not connected with any NGO or any other organization. So which is why I would really appreciate if you guys support her.
Okay. Yeah.
Nice.
So your original goal started in 2020 to get into 50 journals, and you got into 70 if I read correctly. But that's incredible. But
Yeah.
I noticed that the pandemic was a major theme in many of your early works. And so your goal of 10,000 journals by 2030, my question is, by 2030, what do you hope or wish will be the major theme and inspiration for your writing?
Thank you so much for asking this question. I have so far been published in 111 journals, so I'm very happy about that.
That's so cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel that I could go a little more, but I got so many rejection emails that, I haven't been able to cross that, 130, 120 mark that I was aiming to, go by then. But I'm working on that. Anyways, as for your question, I believe that, I want to harness the power of subtlety and humor to talk about things that matter, but we are too afraid to even mention them out of fear of social rejection. And I want my poetry to challenge power dynamics, look in the eyes of hidden truths and subject readers to an prejudiced world where they can breathe without fear. The other day I was reading this poem, The God of Numbers and Eve, after by Danusha Laméris, and there was this line in that poem, how hard we try to break the world down, make sense of it, how steadily it resists. So these lines really stuck with me, and I had never thought about this before. But then, when I read that line, I was like, these are the sort of realities that I want to explore or dissect in my own poems. I mean, I haven't felt like this before. And there were certain lines that I would like to share. So I like to imagine a god who rises before dawn, takes out the stone tablets and starts to tally the individual hairs on each head, the number of breaths we have taken in the night, who counts the cilia shooting ourselves through the dark galaxies of our bodies just before he gets back to work, turning out the next tornado, or reaching down to give the tectonic plates another good hard shake. So, when I read those lines, so I found it so relatable, because when I was a child, this is how I used to imagine. I mean, the entity of God, and I felt that I never had the courage to share my interpretation with the world. But when I read this poem, I felt that these lines have changed me and given me so much courage that now I want to at least attempt to probe hidden truths far further in my own poetry. And I never felt like this before. And this was the first time that I felt that this is what I need to use my pen for. Earlier, it was more like, I want to express myself, I want to hone my craft, I want to write. Now it's more like purpose driven, and I want to write more such pieces. So that's what I aim to do. By the time I get to 2030, I want to be a purpose driven writer. I mean, I don't know why, but I mean, by these when I read these poems, so they really give me this sort of courage that there should be a purpose. I actually recently hosted this hunger themed open mic where I invited poets from all over the world, and we raised up to $1,000, and we donated it to non-profit organizations, so all over the world. And when I was doing that, I realized that this is what I want to do. I mean, I want to be the voice for underprivileged people. Earlier, when people would say something like this, I would like, I used to think that, why, I mean, I used to consider them maybe not being genuine, or maybe, or I used to have a very different opinion, but now it's very different for me, and I am surprised at how small things change you. I mean,
Yeah. That's the thing that I keep learning about poetry as we go through this podcast is like I'd only ever thought of poetry as self-expression, but I'm now reading poets who are making me challenge my own ideas and what I believe and understand and how I view the world. And it's an amazingly beautiful thing to be challenged by art.
Yeah. I'm not going to follow up either of those statements because they were both beautiful. Well, Fizza, I hope that you were okay being on the other side of the interview this time, as Dave and I do about one half as good of a job combined as you do with your guests on YouTube. Again, check out Fizza's YouTube channel, Fizza Writes, for her interviews with poets. But before we let you go, here at My Bad Poetry, we end each week with the words of a true poet. So would you be willing to share one more poem with us today?
so there is this poem of mine, the Unburnt Toast, and it has been recently featured in Gila Members Community Radio FM 89.1. So
Nice.
this is the poem that a lot of people have said that this is one of your best works, which I am still not sure, because when I read it, I feel that I could have changed this or that. But if you are talking about relatively good poem, then I think I can read that.
This sounds great. Yeah.
The title is The Unburnt Toast.
Okay.
Unravel the mystery of the half-burnt toast, a slice of brown bread that couldn't succumb to fire. One day you will know what it means. A pale brown woman with unkempt tresses walks along the pavement, the asphalt and concrete cracked with age, a barren thoroughfare of desires, a road to hell in the making. Her black eyes around look around. The remnants of a half-eaten apple look tempting. She hides it secretly inside her cleavage. A feeble attempt at a brutal revenge. Those once altruistic soldiers become mannequins. My poor Pakistani mother in a slum too has feelings, too has rage. They say have patience, you will get the aid you deserve. Don't they know the toast has burnt and the jam is now wet?
Wow.
Nice.
That's beautiful.
Special for me.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's a great poem.
Yeah.
Well, it's now probably what, 11:40 ish. I can't imagine staying up that late. How are you doing?
I don't know. I mean, I can't sleep. So, because when I'm sleeping, I get all these weird ideas that, I need to write this, I need to do this. So, which is why I'm really, not able to sleep properly. So, actually, the other day I was telling my husband that it's been ages since I have had a proper sleep. Either I'm lucid dreaming, or either I'm having these weird dreams where I'm writing things, and the moment I wake up, I forget what the hell did I write. So it's actually very weird. I feel very restless. I mean, people get some sort of rest because it's actually called rest, but I don't get that rest. So I want that rest, I mean.
Well, we will leave you with your unrestlessness then. But Fizza, this has been so fun.
Thank you so much.
It's great to come back into season 3 with so much laughter. This has been My Bad Poetry.
Now you go and write your own bad poetry.
Yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
That's awesome.
Rhyme free doesn't matter to me.